So I'll show you a couple of assists and ways to modify or use props for a seated forward fold, aka paschimottanasana. So what's nice is we now have two students, and you can see kind of the difference between two different bodies doing the same pose. So we've got Carissa, aka Pebbles, and Morgan, each with a pretty distinctly different forward fold. So I will have them both come into a forward fold, so adorably foot to foot. Now reach your hands towards your feet, and you can either keep your hands reaching or you could let your hands come down to your shins if that's more comfortable. And so I, as the teacher, am right away going to notice a difference between these two students. And I'm going to see that Carissa's hands are closer to her feet, but also what I actually look at more is the relationship between pelvis and thigh. So I can see that Carissa's thigh is here, her pelvis is tilted forward, and her spine kind of extends in that up out of her pelvis. So she's a little bit deeper or folded a little further in the forward fold than Morgan is. Morgan is a little bit more like towards a right angle rather than like towards a, I don't know, 45-degree angle. So I would, as the teacher, approach Morgan first because I would think that likely she might benefit from a few more props or coming out of the pose a little bit. So the first thing that I'll offer her is I'll dance around her and bring a little support under her butt in the form of a blanket. And when you're propping a student up on a blanket or when you're propping yourself up on a blanket and coming into a forward fold, it feels most helpful, most beneficial typically to be towards the front edge of the blanket so that when you're sitting on it, you already almost feel like you're folding forward. And the dogs are, as always, here to help. So as you set up here, Morgan, do you feel kind of like you're tilted a little forward kind of naturally? Perfect. So then the other thing I can give her is a prop for her hands and feet to connect if the hands don't reach the feet. So when you can't reach, just make your arms longer with a strap. It feels kind of nice. So coming to kind of more of an upright position, maybe even for some folks leaning back, can be a lot less strain for the hamstrings and the low back if hamstrings are tight. How does that all feel? Great. So if I wanted to adjust Morgan in this pose, and again, I'm noticing in her pose kind of naturally, she's not folded super far forward. So I, as a teacher, do not want to force her to fold further. I want to give her props so that she can be upright, or I want to give her an assist to kind of affirm like, hey, you can be upright in this pose. That's fine. So as an assist for this pose for Morgan, I might, instead of giving her the prop, or maybe even in addition, I might come behind her, kind of kneel here with my knee right kind of central in her pelvis, right behind her sacrum, and kind of lift and pull her shoulders towards me. So my side body is against her. I'm not getting fresh. Although I would probably want to warn the student if I didn't know that. I'm like, I'm going to take my hands to your shoulders and just give a little lift up and back. How does all that feel? Great. So it's supporting her where she is rather than saying, hey, you should be folded further. She doesn't have to be. And are you still feeling a stretch in your hamstrings? Mm-hmm. Great. So she's already feeling a stretch in her hamstrings, which is primarily the primary physical function of the pose. So she doesn't actually need to fold any further to feel that. Great. And then when I disappear, I can say, yeah, you can use your strap to stay there with a little bit less effort. So that's how I would assist someone with more tight hamstrings in the shape. Take a rest whenever you need. If the person that you're assisting is folded a little further into the shape, as Carissa is, I might do the opposite of what I just did for Morgan. So I would take my hands first to her thighs, and I would probably warn her and say, I'm going to take my hands to your upper thighs. And then I'm going to press my hands down into her thighs, straight down. Not with a huge amount of force because it can pretty quickly really intensify the sensations. How does all that feel so far? Good. Feel okay? Great. So I can press really firmly if it feels good. I might gradually kind of increase the pressure. And then you can see that naturally, Carissa just folded a little further, which again is not necessarily the goal, but it kind of frees up the space so that she can fold further if she wants, if that feels good. I could also come back behind her with my feet and my knees. And as I press my hands down into her thighs, take my knees to kind of either side of her sacrum, still on her pelvis. Yes. And gently kind of press my knees forward and apart, kind of forward, up, and apart. So my knees are, to exaggerate, are doing, they're doing this, pushing forward, up, and apart. Hands press down, knees find the back side of the pelvis on either side of the sacrum. Press a little forward, press a little up, and press a little out. And it should all be pretty gentle, especially with the knees. I'm not forcing her any deeper into, or I'm not forcing her much deeper into the pose. I'm just kind of encouraging a little bit and kind of following the cues of her body. So it didn't seem like she squirmed at any of that. Did it all feel like reasonable? Perfect. Great. And then if she's totally relaxed in the pose, you can let your head relax down too. I might even just kind of take a hand to the back of the heart, have her breathe into my hand, and just say kind of ground your thighs. So if I want it to be a nice relaxed, soft shape, just taking your hand to the back of the heart can also feel really nice. All right. So there you have it. Paschimottanasana, some assists, and some ways to add some props to make it a little gentler.